Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody is okay. Let me just kill a few sound devices I got running here. Let me just touch on one thing real quick here that I do get a lot of comments and I'm really surprised on. The countdown in the beginning of the video. Now, if you don't do YouTube videos, you may not understand why that runs the way it does. When you run live shows, you have to make sure it's actually running on the channel before you want to switch over to your actual feed. And the only way to do that is to wait the 30 or so seconds it takes from the time you actually start the feed till it actually shows up on YouTube. So just FYI, I have created something else that's going to be much more enjoyable that is coming up. I've heard the many comments on that. I'm kind of surprised because to me it's not a big ordeal, but made me think of putting something better in there anyway. So there will be something else coming out. It's already done. I just want to let a couple other people see it and see some opinions before I do it. Probably Patreons will get to see it first, but FYI. Today's topic is going to be on the fall update. And just as eBay has done for the last, I don't know how many years, they did exactly what I expected them to do, which was to add more work and create chaos just before, Christmas is there, fourth quarter. Right now, I've been ramping up for fourth quarter, as most people should be already. We've been working on fourth quarter for like 7 or 8 weeks now. Again, it's the busiest time of the year for most people. If you've got stuff to sell, you need to have as much up as you can during that time usually, because that's when it's going to be big. If this situation stays as it is, I think it could be a bumper crop of sales coming in for fourth quarter. So again, I've been watching the trends. I keep tracking it. I read, Wall Street Journal and a bunch of other stuff, trying to figure out what's going on with the economy and the market to see where we're going. My sales are way up right now. I'm still doing last year fourth quarter sales right this minute. No exaggeration. So I am not seeing any downward trend going. So we've been just pushing, and eBay obviously is going to put a big damper on that. Now, we're going to look at some of the things. I do have a screen opened up here too. I don't know if it's really essential or not. Let me get this one out of here first, because I'm not even going to talk about this one aspect, because I would never in my life use it. eBay's new promoted listing scheme, and I'm going to call this scheme, obviously they're keeping the old one from what I see, the old promoted listing. I don't use that either, and I would not ever use a pay-per-click for collectibles in my, well, I would never even possibly remotely think about that in any way, shape, or form to use personally in collectibles. Clothing or something, that's going to be up on you, but I would have used promoted listings in clothing had I been stuck in the clothing category still, because there's too many people selling the same thing you're selling. Flooded categories, same size t-shirt, there's probably 1 million mediums, 1 million larges, and just t-shirts and men's sizes alone. So, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. So I don't use it. I don't recommend promoted listings of any kind for collectibles, especially desirable collectibles. If you're selling things that are worth listing, chances are there's going to be a market and people looking for them anyway, so you wouldn't need to promote them. Aspects with promoted in general. If you cancel promoted today, it's going to, from today point on, for the next 30 days, even if it sells after you cancel the promotions, you're still paying the promotional fees for 30 days afterwards. Now, the biggest problem, again, it works for some people, so I'm not going to say it's not a viable means, but for collectibles, for 99.9% of what I sell and what I show in all of my videos, I would never ever recommend it or use it. I have not used, and I get asked this a lot, so I want to address this because I've probably had 50 questions just in the last, say, 10 or 12 days just on promoted listings in general. Even from people who I've talked to a while weren't 100% sure on my feelings. Again, so I want to put this out there because I've played with the stuff for years. I've been on eBay since pretty much day one. I've tried anything that'll get me sales. I always have given eBay the benefit of what they're offering us to say, hey, even though I don't trust them, I want to see what it'll do, because sometimes I'm surprised. Very rarely, but sometimes eBay does something really good. The whole structure of payments and stuff for me has been just fine. I don't have to worry about bills at the end of the month. Everything's done. Easier for accounting, comes from one source. I know people are having issues with payments. That's actually addressed partially in the actual update if you haven't read through it. So, but back to promoted listings. The new promoted listings options are going to be pay per click. So instead of eBay at least giving you something special up there, you're going to pay just for somebody to look at something, even if they're never going to be intent on buying it. So for me, I know there's big business who does that, who can afford it. They've got deep pockets. It's a ploy that someone who's small just normally wouldn't use. It's something that I don't see marketed towards small folks. Obviously, I have friends who've used it on Facebook and Instagram and many other places, some of these other options for advertisements. And they can work in certain situations when you're selling wholesale NOS and things like that. So everything has a place. I understand eBay's trying to offer a broad range, but a lot of what they're offering at this point are more geared towards overseas marketers, maybe Chinese merchandise, and all these other aspects. Bulk is the point. They're not geared towards you or I in my book. Again, I don't see other sites using pay-per-click like this. I just don't see it. I would never pay for something that's not going to give me something different than I would have had I not paid for it. And with a lot of what I sell, and a lot of what quite a few people who I see in the feed, I see Dave and a few other folks in here now. I'll call some names in a minute, but this is important. I just want to get some points across here. It's not useful in a lot of categories for various reasons. So again, eBay gives you the tools. This is one statement eBay made that I would agree with full-heartedly, that eBay gives us all these as tools. And whether they work for you or not is up to you to try them out or not try them out and figure it out for yourself. Every business, every store that I've ever looked at is different than each other one. So you can mimic patterns, you can mimic their photo styles, you can mimic title listings, you can do zoom-ins or whatever you want. All that stuff's superficial to some extent when you don't do the rest of the whole package. You know, there's more to it than just looks. And people can see through that through service, customer service, and your feedback and stuff like that too. So this is about all I'm going to get into on promoted listings. Is I won't recommend them for what I sell, nor for those who like what I sell or sell similar items, because I don't see it's essential. You're going to, whether your items sell in vintage collectibles or anything else like that, it's all going to come down to, is somebody looking for that item? And if they're looking for the item, it's not going to matter if you promote it or not. If you're not a let's give you a collector reference on that. We collect stuff. I've got a massive button collection. The wife's got some things too, Weebles among other things. If you're a collector, I don't care what the search results show you or how the search results work. If you're a collector, you're going to figure that out really quickly, because you want to be the first one in there to, I'll say this kind of screwy, but snake out that good deal out there, that rare collectible that the seller doesn't know what it is. You want that rare missing piece for your collection. And I don't know a collector out there who doesn't know every inch of searching for items on eBay to buy. Everybody that I know who's diehard, the comic book guys are, I'm not going to, this sounds weird, but are the worst. Not in a bad sense. The worst as in they've got that stuff down and they use eBay's system to navigate to just what they want, even if the seller has it misrepresented or doesn't have the right words or stuff like that. There's always options. And I do that occasionally, like Weebles or some of the other items that we collect or have in our possession. So it's a big picture you got to be worried about for this whole aspect. Let's move on from there, because there are quite a few other things in here. Now, they're dumping categories, and we'll look at a little bit in just a minute here, but now that may not seem like a huge ordeal to those folks who aren't in the categories. For example, in postcards, there's probably 125, 150 subcategories under the main category postcard. So you go to collectibles, the main collectibles category. Next one down, the first subcategory is postcards, and under that there's at least 120, 150 different subcategories. eBay is eliminating all of those categories, every single one of them, and just creating two separate categories. Now, you might think, oh, great, who cares? What's the big deal on that? Well, any category you do that to, how are you going to distinguish the other items? Along with that, they're adding in item specific. So they're taking away 120, 150 subcategories. They're adding in us needing to put in 120, 150 item specifics. So instead of them worrying about how it works and what's in what and where it goes, it's now on our behalf to fix and do and spend the time and labor. Now, if you sell postcards, for example, or photos or anything in the collectibles that they're addressing here, I cannot group edit a single postcard ever. Everyone has some different factor, whether it's shipped or, it's posted, unposted, real picture, everything. There's a ton of different things that you would have to put in that you didn't have to put in before. Maybe they'll let us just go with the title, but I can almost guarantee you the way eBay does things, you're going to have to manually sit there and look at, for us, 4,300 postcards in just one store, every single one of them. If you're in photos and you've got 1,000 photos up, every single one of them will have to be addressed because of the way the categories are going. Now, again, we're going into fourth quarter. This is happening October 12th, right around there. I might expect delays, so who knows? eBay isn't on time. Sometimes they post stuff, announcements that end up they have to pull the announcement down, and just all kinds of things. Now, when they get rid of categories like this, what happened the last time eBay did some major changes, for those who were around 2 years ago? The big photo fiasco. It happened in June a couple years back. eBay lost, and I called them, and I actually got a straight answer from somebody at I'm not going to give any more because it was somebody I've talked to. They lost like 38 million sellers' photos. You only had one photo, they lost all the rest of them. And that's when they're moving things around. Now, we're moving a category here. They're changing the categories here. So from a technical guy, I'm an IT guy too. I have an IT degree from here. I've got a broad IT degree that centers in on database design and construction. Thinking about how this all sets up and can play for them. This could go super smooth. Don't count on that for eBay, but if they mess this up, there could be lost all kinds of stuff when you're trying to keep together multiple things that pull from different servers. With eBay, we know from that fiasco with the photos where they store the original photo, the title, and the price, and everything else is stored somewhere else. So if you're moving stuff around, there's a potential for some big issues to happen. Now, in a real world, in a place where I would work or something, you would test that for months on end in a virtual system so you could see what happens. I don't think eBay would do that personally because they've never been on the ball with what's happened in the past. These are opinions. This is based on what I've seen and what hundreds of other people have expressed to me from the 3+ years I've been doing this on here. So I'm not just throwing out some bad information. This is factually based on multiple experiences, including personal experiences by me and the millions of other people who have lost their photos on eBay. No real compensation. The compensation they did give for that incident, most people couldn't use because it was free listings that were announced like one day and you only had 3 days to use them. For me, so many items up, constantly relisted that I used them up like in the same day they gave them to me. So it wasn't a fair bet for what it is. The last time that issue happened, it cost us almost $600 in paid labor. I had to pay employees to do all this moves and look through everything. This new one that's happening in October is covering 4 times the amount of things I'll have to change than I did that cost me $500-600, whatever the total figure was. So it's not reassuring to do this during the busiest times of the year. Now, let me get a drink here. I've had a lot of conversations with dozens of people today over this, back and forth, and we looked at it. So this isn't just my made-up ideas on this. We've talked about this. I've discussed this with quite a few people today. I'm almost hoarse from talking about it. Now let's take our experience and what would happen to us out of the picture here for just a minute. Let's pretend I'm not going to have to do hundreds of hours of work or at least a lot of hours of work with labor, whatever the case. This could cost us $1,200-1,500 in actual labor because I've got a lot of listings. It could theoretically cause me to manually edit 5,000 or 6,000 listings, bare bones minimum, because, well, it's probably more than that. I've got thousands of 8x10s, which are in the photo category. So I guess if I added that all up, we could manually have to go through 6,000 or 7,000 listings one by one. I'm already not fine with it. I don't want it to sound like that, but I understand I'm going to get screwed one way or the other from eBay. The luck of the draw, I guess, at this point. I don't know what we could do about it. Again, let's take us out of the picture now. Now, there's other things that are entailed here. Last time they did these changes to like clothing and stuff like that, how many people out there watching this out there right now sold clothing and stuff like that were totally crashing in sales for your items after that happened? Because again, they've changed stuff around. What a lot of people aren't thinking about is your buyers. And if you know your buyers enough, people save searches. They save searches tied to a specific category. And if eBay doesn't announce to these folks, they've got plenty of time to do it, but never done it before that I can ever see, because they never told me when they changed items in categories that I watch. So again, this is proof to me that they don't do it. If they don't tell these people, those searches are dead. And if the searches, they have to figure out how to search again in the categories they're looking for. So this is going to put a hamper possibly on sales, when this could be a bumper crop of sales this year because of the pandemic, the current climate of everything, the economy, people not shopping as much out in public, and they're buying offline. So this could crush part of people's lives in what should be a bumper year. So again, I'm thinking of this from a business standpoint, from a functional standpoint, and an everyday, day-to-day operational standpoint. These are what you got to look at. Everything is good, and there's some bads in pretty much everything anybody does. I can't find a lot of goods in here. There may be some goods for people who sell clothing with the paper clips, as I said. Some of that may work for some items if you've got NOS, or you buy in bulk, or you do wholesale. Some of that does work. I've used it in other venues for somebody else when I was working for somebody, so I do get the gist of it. Don't get me wrong. Now, even if it's just the customers that are affected, that should be a big consideration. But think about the APIs now. Now, if you're not up on what an API is the transfer conduit that connects HIP. I'll give you HIP because I use HIP, and say InkFrog. I use InkFrog, and Shopify, which I use as well, to eBay. So eBay has their own API, and it's not a full feature API from eBay to Shopify. It's missing stuff. Now, if they're behind on just the standards and don't have full feature APIs to begin with, what's going to happen when eBay comes back and alters the categories? I've also reached out to Mark, the owner and CEO of HIP, because we've talked, and to see if they're even aware of this, because I don't know, maybe they tell people. I want to give eBay the benefit of the doubt. I would guess that maybe they read it and probably weren't told. My opinion, we'll know, because I'll get an answer from him for sure, because this is a big enough issue to warrant something going on. Without changing the API, that means that the tokens that you use for, say, HIP, or if you're hooked up to InkFrog or whatever the case may be, for those categories won't be valid if eBay hasn't corrected it, or give notice, or told people what to do with it. Now, if you write your own APIs, which many companies do, HIP and places like that, they actually have IT people who know what they're doing. They can write it, but if you're not giving them the correct destination that they need to encode into the API, basically write in that textual location, they're not going to be able to link up. So if it's not ready the day they do this, that could kill every listing in the postcards I have exported to other sites through auto hookup. So again, API is affected. So those folks who don't see the big picture here, there's more cogs in how this all works, and why you wouldn't do this in fourth quarter. I mean, it's insane that they would do this. We had a good laugh with quite a few people I've talked to. A couple patrons I talked to too. I didn't ask to call out names, so I'm not going to do that, but it's people I've talked to for a long time, have the exact same thought. In fact, they didn't realize I was doing a live. I won't again mention his name, but didn't realize I had the live show talking about this, mentioned the exact same concerns that I had. Instantly, anybody who's done this business for a while will have to see the concerns. Now, I don't really care about any of the changes eBay does to day-to-day operations, to reporting, to any of that stuff, because I know how to get reports no matter what eBay does. The information is there. You just have to dig a little harder, and it'll take you a little more time, and without Excel it might be a little harder, but it's all there. The only ones that I really worry about, I don't even really so much worry about the user agreement changes. I look at them, don't get me wrong, but none of that's going to affect you time-wise or anything else. And if you want to continue selling on the platform, it's moot what the user agreement says. If you want to keep selling, you got to follow the user agreement. And I'm pretty much a stickler for following the policies. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I take care of my medical issues, my kids, everything is taken care of through reselling in this business. So I take it extremely seriously and honor their user agreement. Regardless, it's their user agreement. I'm allowed to sell on their site. There's no law that says that they can't just kick me off if they wish to. So again, I try to do the right thing, and I would do the right thing with that aspect either way. But So look at it from that way. Now, like the other issues, the other changes, them adding coupon options, which I've already had for a couple months now. That's already been going on. A lot of the changes they're addressing, and there were stuff they've already announced in the past. If you keep following what's going on, item specifics have been constantly being added. I get a few here, a few there once in a while, and stuff like that. I haven't touched any of the recommended ones unless it tells me required soon or something, because I did a test, and geez, the test was a flop for item specifics helping my listings. You know, I did far better for the listings I didn't add the item specifics to, basis versus the ones that I did, and they were a fair. I did 4,000 listings that I fixed or added their recommended item specifics, and I kept 4,000 in the same category, like to like items, and the ones that I did not fix the item specifics, I didn't pay any attention to their recommendeds, did far better. Now, that was a test then. Obviously, once more and more stuff moves over to the forced item specifics, those results may change and it may go in the favor of what eBay's doing. I see what they're doing. They're trying to be Amazon structure right now. Again, they don't want to be Amazon, they say, but obviously it's more towards a Walmart or Amazon structure is what they're going towards. The full picture is here now the minute they cut off every category or subcategory in postcards, for an example. They're going to force all that work on us to set up the item specifics. Now, they may have a bunch in there. If you've followed my channel for quite some time, you'll see I have posted some of the awful, terrible, what was it? Fake poop was one of the ones for some really awful item. Stuff that was so unrelated, a joke, you know, and it was allowed to go into the system. So anyway, I don't hold a lot of faith in all that yet. Either way, if they do this in October, it's going to affect sales just on the sheer basis of collectors that are watching these categories that aren't going to exist. Again, are they going to tell them? Maybe they'll pay attention to what we're saying, and not just us, but other folks too, and do something. But I'm not going to hold my breath, because I'd probably die holding my breath if I had to do that over eBay. It's one bad decision over another one, including the CEO of the company is poor decision. Again, I don't care if he sees this or not. It's a truthful, personal opinion, which I'm allowed to say. You can't kill the Nook, and I always bring this back up, because anybody who couldn't see that the Nook was would have been the leader of the game, they killed it, you know, and all the other it's a fiasco. You know, it's just heading towards Walmart and Amazon. All the pay-per-click clicks is something Amazon does for wholesalers and new product. It's something that a lot of these, like Walmart, I mean, come on, it's the same thing to eBay is basically was, I'm going to say was with quotes because I don't think it is anymore, used to be a big flea market for those cool things that you would want to find, you know, digging. I'm an old school flea market guy, so I love finding all those old things at those type of places. And now it's let's weed out all the crap that's on there. In categories that I've watched for so long, it's flooded with stuff that doesn't belong to it. Even part of it's partially because of item specifics as well, because people are adding in like Weeble to things in the item specific, and it's not a Weeble. It's not even made by the same company, and it's just a sheer ploy to try and draw attention to the item. You know, that's part of the thing eBay was supposed to be fixing. But let's just hop over for just a second here and look at a few pages, just so we can show you what's going on. Give me just a second here to heal a few things. You're going to see my back of the house for a second here. So here it is. Here's the page right here we got going on. User agreement update. Read it on your own time. We're not going to discuss it, but I honestly and sincerely would recommend every single person who sells on eBay and who has any stake in their business to read it over at least once every time they change it. I do it. I read the whole thing line by line. You know, some of it I may skim over. It looks like it's pretty much the same thing as last time. The only other thing is some information they're requiring, which again, it's required, so nothing you can do about it. And new cancellation policy, which doesn't really bear any. I'm not going to change anything I do based on anything it says in there, because I already follow the rules in that, and everybody else should as well. I'm not recommending anybody violate any rules or something else like that. Now, running your business, I opened up to. It's just basically the same stuff they've been talking about forever. I don't see anything different. They're going to change the way certain things show up or move. Again, I've heard that before. I haven't seen much difference. Who knows? Maybe it'll come to something good, but unless they're going to hook up with, you know, Shopify or Google Shopping or anything else like that, the point's mute, because all they're going to do is see it on eBay. The only thing I can see is them pushing stores, and then what's going to happen in another 6 months is mysteriously they'll have a new marketing version that you can promote for just your store. So if you pay extra money, they'll promote your store off site. That's my guess is where they're going, and it sounds logical based on everything that they've been doing lately, especially with the pay-per-clicks, because that would be something you would do if you had your own specific store. So what I see is eBay is trying to create a mix between Amazon and trying to take on Shopify at the same time, because it's almost like a mix. They're trying to turn their stores into like Shopify stores or like an Etsy marketplace or something like that. So they're just copying everybody else's ideas and adding them into what they already had, which was the stores, which they never did much with otherwise. To me, the only reason I have a store on eBay and always had a store on eBay was to save money, and that is the only reason I ever had a store on eBay. I don't see any benefit up even till right this minute to have a store other than having a central location where at least if somebody clicks on your items, it's not just a whole bunch of listings, and you can set it up to your own desire. So that's a good point of at least the store side itself. But again, it saves us, well, it did save us prior to the new managed payments and the new listing fee reductions. It saved us like $3,000 a year per anchor store versus it, because we always had more than the initial $10,000 that was included with it. And actually, that's one of the things they added on. If as an anchor store, it used to be $10,000 you'd get for free, it's now $25,000. Zero ZIFs, zero insertion fee ones. And then you still have the $75,000 fixed price ones that you had before. I don't see any call for that. Nothing on here is anything of relevance in my personal opinion. This is like an About Me page I would see on Amazon, I would see on Instagram, I would see on YouTube or something. It's nothing flashy. I write for E-commerce Bytes, and this is something basically you can click on from my pages there. It's the same thing everybody does. So this isn't some revolutionary, it's just same old everybody else is doing. So I don't see anything special. I've already used the newsletters. Again, they've been preaching this and that with this. We'll see how far it goes. We'll see how much money they actually want to invest in it. We'll see if they sign a deal with Google Shopping. If they don't do that, they don't step up and address the issues with, everybody else is getting Google and everybody else is being promoted, and they don't do it, it's still going to be a moot point. It's not going to be worth your time, because you can Shopify and then get all of the viewership from the Google Shopping app as well as Google Chrome search in general and be ranked fairly decent and not have to deal with eBay and the arguments they've had, legally wise and all the other aspects from what I remember with Google. So you avoid that. So I don't see anything. New research and performance. The last time I was excited about something eBay said about new research and performance, they took it away from us like a month later. If you use Terapeak at any point, you know that Terapeak solds show up for a year, but you can't look at the listing if it's over 90 days. Well, they announced the feature where you could hover over the thumbnail and get an expanded view so you could see it much bigger. Well, that lasted for a month, and then it disappeared. I've asked people at eBay, including, his name's Brian. I can't think of his last name, but he's an eBay exec. I've asked people personally. I've emailed eBay. I've asked in any way I can. No one can answer me why it's gone. Everybody just drops the subject. So that was something promised that would have been helpful, and then it's gone. I don't know if anybody else has the same experience and if you know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure there's some deep divers into research that do the same thing, or at least did that I did, which is zoom in to look at those, and you can't do it anymore. So I ignore this. The listing quality report was garbage because most of it was basically a lie telling you to put in the item specifics, which again, I've proven to myself by comparing 8,000 listings that it doesn't do anything for you. And, they're saying the listing quality report will show you which ones aren't showing up on Google. I had like 5 out of almost 30,000 listings that showed up on the report, and none of them were anything that I personally could do with. It seemed to be tied to eBay's category or something along that line. So again, I don't trust the reports. Sales reports are what's always been there. You can pull those just differently. I've always been able to get those either way. Again, Terapeak, if they fix the zoom in where you could see listing, at least the one photo, you can see it enlarged over 90 days. That would be the biggest thing they could do, and that would actually restore a tiny bit of faith that they at least listen to us, because that's about it. They don't listen to us. Multi-user accounts, I don't really do that. I have multiple employees, but I know who's working for me. Some people, it may be a viable way to do it. I don't do virtual assistants via. I don't do any of that stuff. I have to have people in person. I don't think it's productive otherwise. Okay, so now here's the troubling parts, as we said right here. New category changes, item-specific updates, and they go into a big detail. Now, I'm not going to go look at the whole breakdown on this because it's going to depend on what you're selling, whether it's going to affect you drastically or not. So if you sell in one of the categories, the collectibles and art, jewelry, music instruments, parts and accessories, or sporting goods, that's going to hit a lot of those other folks. I don't do sporting goods very much, but I know people who've got 40,000 listings in sporting goods that are worried to death that they'll have to manually add in all kinds of stuff like team names. Now, if eBay's smart and they have a good IT person, I could see that they should be able to import from a title or somewhere else, or from the category that you put it in, and turn that into an item specific. But they haven't done that through any of the other item specific updates that I've seen so far, so I wouldn't hold my breath. You'd be dead if you did. So again, they're going into the details down here. Now, the download and upload file is not going to work for postcards. You know, there's just, maybe you could type them in a little quicker, maybe. But I mean, you're going to have to look at them all, and you'd have to click on them every time because the download report doesn't show photos. At least it didn't on the ones that I've downloaded. So you would have to know what the card had, you know, inside details, and you can't get those details without looking at the photo. Same with photos, probably sports cards as well. I don't put every detail in the title because I put some of it in the category I was using. Now that the categories could be gone, that information's not there anymore. So I'm going to be required to make sure that my all 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 listings between the multiple categories it's affecting have all those details in the item specific. So we're being forced to do the labor once again. eBay just clicks a couple switches. They've already done all the hard work and written the new code, and boom, you know, the database has changed. So this is the one that's going to hit. I mean, there's a timeline on here, but a lot of what they're even talking about covers stuff that's already happened. Some of this stuff, like customized coupon codes, that's already been out. I've had it for a couple months. I don't know if it's been phased in or not, but a lot of the stuff I have it months in advance, like the Terapeak sourcing I've had for a very long time, promoted listing stand. I mean, all this stuff's been around for a while. So the most dangerous ones, again, are the ones that are going to affect your time. So hang on just a second while I put us all back together here, and we're going to go back to the show. So we are back. Let me hop back over to where I want to be. So again, there's going to be some issues with a lot of this. And it's, again, the worst time of the year to be doing something like this. I've been preaching fourth quarter now for like 6 or 7 weeks to folks. And every time someone comments, what are you doing? I'm working on fourth quarter. That's what you should be worried about. That's what you should be looking forward to. With the pandemic especially, for eBay to throw this much extra work on a lot of people, there's probably millions of sellers this is going to affect, even if it's those limited categories we looked at. I know a lot of people who sell sports items. A lot of people. I know a lot of people who sell collectibles. I know people that only sell art, fine art. That's all they sell. So, you know, you're hitting so many categories. Christmas time. I'm just, again, not surprised, but I'm shocked mentally that they would do this every single year. The worst changes for a lot of people happen the first month of fourth quarter. So again, nobody needs to be worrying about this. You got the pandemic, you've got all the other stresses going on, and you're going to do something that's going to affect people. You know, we'll get by it. It's just another roadblock. But how many people are going to get turned off by this at a constant basis when they've got 20,000 listings that they have to manually look at each image to know if it's this, know if it's that, to know for sure which state, or if they ask for a city. I mean, there's just an ungodly amount of stuff that you'll have to put in that you didn't have to put in before. And again, maybe if eBay used your subcategories to turn those into item specifics, that would be okay. But I don't have any faith, again, with eBay being able to do that. If they did that, it would at least save you. But if they just trashed that information that you typed in or put in there, you'd have to go back in and look at a lot of these listings. Again, I used those subcategories to save me the time of typing in words and places and things like that. That's what they were there for. So them to change the structure to turn it into Amazon Shopify 2.0 is a little bit... It's a little bit frustrating, to say the least. It again rethinks where I'm going to continue to list certain items in the future. We've already slacked off listing records and things like that on eBay because of the last time they did this. As have many. I've talked to hundreds of people who have not listed as much in certain categories because of those. They list them on other platforms now. Records, Discogs, HIP for postcards, HIP for stamps, HIP for comic books and stuff. I don't have any ties with them right now. I don't have any contracts or anything else like that. I use them, and let's give you an example on customer service on eBay. I had somebody not pay on HIP. I had somebody, that same person, bought another item and hasn't paid on HIP. Well, I just contacted them. You know what happened? They actually deactivated that person's account because I had multiple email messages and they ignored it, and it was provable, and they took action on it. If I went through that with eBay, they'd just ding them, and I'd never even know if they even dung them. They could have just warned them. So if you're going to have to, I'm not telling everybody to jump ship. I'm not jumping ship, so don't take that out of this conversation. But people wonder why eBay, or people at eBay wonder why they're not doing good. You put somebody in charge who used to run Walmart, who doesn't understand anything about collectibles or any of these brandings with vintage items and stuff, records, sporting collectibles. There's a big difference between retail, NOS, new, mass sold, big box items, and what most of us sell who's in the feed right now. I know I haven't called out names, but I think it's more important today to just touch on all the aspects of stuff like this when they do it, because again, this is I see people in the feed right now that this is their livelihood. This is how they make a living. And a lot of people sell similar items that watch my channel. So it's going to affect them as much, if not more. If eBay shuts down a category, even shuts my store down, I'm not going to really be hurt. I'll just move it to somewhere else. I've got backup material. They don't own my listings. Anything I typed in, I have copies of, all in full structure with InkFrog and stuff. So it's available. So, you can't trust it to do the right thing. We already can say that with eBay, again, in my opinion on that. But so far, all the things I've thought or said is going to happen have happened with what they're doing. It's most of those who've dug into this will see and say the same thing. I've conversed with about a dozen people today that I've known, a couple of them for like almost 20 years, and well, yeah, more than 20 years, quite a few of them actually. We all come to the same conclusion. It's they're going in the wrong direction again. At least for us, it's all going towards big box corporate entities and pushing. That's what I see with eBay. The pay-per-clicks was the thing that I said they'd do like a year and a half ago. I said, watch them do that. That's what they're going to do. And again, the part of the other thing in there, they're raising the fees on a couple categories. I can't remember which ones because we pay it anyway. I'm not going to argue, but I knew they would do it, and we've all discussed this. Anybody who's been out there realizes when they lowered the price for us to list and they dropped down the fees and gave us all these free listings and all that kind of stuff, we knew they were going to get the money back. Obviously, they're getting the money back from managed payments beyond belief, tens of millions, maybe a couple $1 billion for all we know. Again, but they're going to keep raising the price. It's going up 0.20 again. So for those who are quoted, once you get managed payments, it's going to be less. By my calculations, if they're still stating that line, that's probably not true anymore. I haven't looked to see if they're stating it still. I don't know. Don't really care because I'm stuck with it. So, but if you dig into it, you'll see that the discount that you were promised when they first pushed this as some great thing isn't there anymore. Basically, it's pretty much gone through all the other aspects they're doing. So we knew that was going to happen. So not only are they taking the percentage from the processing of the payments, but now they're going to keep inching those fees up. Quarter by quarter or year by year, either way we go. Again, it's inevitable. Every company does it. I don't blame them for doing what everybody else is doing. They just need to provide better service. Prior to going on to the show, I was pulling up the pages we just looked at. I know it's just a few pages, but I got 3 sorry it's not you, it's us errors on getting those pages open. 3 of them. So I don't know if their server can't handle it. Maybe it's some kind of denial of service or somebody flooded it or there's just so many people looking at those pages. I don't know, but either way, if their servers can't handle that, anyway, it's just bad. Yeah, let's hop over to the feed and see what we got going on here. If you're enjoying the conversation, please hit that thumbs up. I've got 367 people in-house on my end of the picture here. Hey Duncan, how's Duncan doing there? Yep. Again, most of this, if you're been a seller for any good length of time, you're going to be able to just ride over this like a bump in the road. You'll get over it, and you'll forget about how angry you were that you had to type in or go through thousands of listings potentially. Again, maybe they'll fix or do something, but I can't see any way around it because with the last required item specific with postcards, you had to they wanted to know if it was posted or unposted, which is something a collector really doesn't care. If it's the right postcard and the front looks nice, they're not going to care what's on the back. They want that postcard. It's a meaningless one to most people. But the only way to know that, because I don't put that in there, it wasn't important, it doesn't matter to the people buying my cards, I never mentioned it anywhere in the listing at all, whether it was or wasn't. They could see it in the picture. It's a no-brainer. But now with those type of things, you got to look at every one of your listings. So it's ridiculous to have to do that much extra work to go through with eBay's method on it. Since you'd have to download the sheet. You'd also have to have eBay opened and look at your listings at the same time you're doing it on the sheet would be the only way I could think of, unless the sheet downloads the images, which I don't remember it doing that. I did download the sheets. Maybe they fixed it, but I doubt that they would have the brains or the know-how off the bat to do that, in my personal opinion. I know personally people who can do that, and I could probably do that if I took a little bit of time writing it myself. So, it's not something that's not doable, trust me. Just like pulling these subcategories and turning them into item specifics, they should be able to do that. Whether they'll want to spend the time on the coding is the question. Because it's not their extra work, it's us that will have to do the extra work. So, who cares, I guess. Nicholas, how you doing? How you doing today? Yeah, I mean, talking about changes to logarithm with searches and sales dropping off and tanking. There are some seasonal aspects right now that would affect it and have nothing to do with eBay. And I'm not saying that's your issue or not. I don't know. Depends on what you're selling. Right now, college is back in session across the country. So sales are going to drop in many different areas automatically. It's just a given. It happens every single year. That's why I say track your sales off eBay from year to year, month to month. Write them down. Look at them. Compare year over last. With all your items, not just the two that you sell most in like what eBay shows you. eBay doesn't show you all your stuff. They only show you your 2 top selling categories. And with like people like us, it could change every other month. Certain items sell differently unless they finally put it to a year, whatever you sell the most of in a year, which wouldn't be correct because a 1% difference would mean it's a totally different category. So anyway, track it off eBay so that you're able to know where you're going. So you would know that it's going to be slow right now. August 30th was college. Both our kids started back in school August 30th, so in college. So a ton of people went back to college in many different states. So these are dates you got to pay attention to. Whether you've got kids in school or not, you need to know when you might have a dip so you can get ready for it. I knew my sales were going to do fairly good when this stuff goes on right here because we're going into my season and we've been running fourth quarter. So I ended all my sales. I'm not even running sales now, and I'm still running fourth quarter sales right now. So I canceled all the sales and promotions. You'll see nothing on my store at all is on sale, and it hasn't been for like 12 days now. Again, because you can play your sales based on prior years if you've been on eBay long enough. Information is what this is all about. That's how they can do pay-per-clicks. It's all information. They've got information on people, what they do, their buying habits. Kroger's, if you buy online, they know this, they know that. They can recommend, they give you coupons based on your buying habits and all that kind of stuff here. So that's what eBay should be working on too, and that's where we're going with this. But I know I ramble. Duncan, you're consistently listing the right items does pay off. I sold hundreds of items in the past couple of weeks. It's been flat out, and I keep selling out. It has been flat out. He's selling out his inventory. I've been getting up earlier these days, too. I'm usually up by like 6 at the very, very latest right now. And I'll be up tonight probably till... I don't sleep. I don't know. Maybe I've got insomnia, but I don't sleep much these days. 3-4 hours, and I still feel fine. I'm all wired feeling. I don't do anything. I don't even drink caffeine. I got unsweetened iced tea, actually, is what I'm drinking. That's usually what I drink. But... anyway, early bird gets the worm, and we've been busting on fourth quarter, so sales have been coming in just fine for us. I have no complaints. My last 2 payouts were fairly good per store, so I can't complain. Again, I'm not trying to belittle anybody. It comes down to what you sell. So those folks who aren't having sales right now, I was in your boat. I sold clothing. I sold all those home goods and all that stuff. there's a better way, and I'm not telling you got to sell what I'm selling, but there's other ways around this. Whether you sell, geez, there's so many things to sell. I wouldn't even begin to start. I know people who make little tiny miniatures, who make dolls, who make models. I've done dioramas myself, and we've made good money at that. People that I know do Halloween costumes, and they do it all year round. You know, they'll make Halloween costumes all year round, but they do really nice looking ones. I've got a guy who he won a Lucasfilms award even for Trooper Clerks is what it was. It's somebody I know did that. In fact, if you guys follow me, I've got photos from Tusken Raiders that we did. I'd made some Tusken Raiders outfits, and he supplied scans from Lucasfilms for those setups. Those are actually Lucasfilm identical mock-ups underneath those masks to get the form and the shape. But anyway, I know I'm rambling again. Hey, Amazon Seller 99. More fun stuff from eBay. Yeah, we're gonna wait. I'm gonna see, but I bet you $1,000,000 that my assumptions are correct. I will bet you $1,000,000 that it'll affect all the issues that I've just discussed. The API issue with auto export, your buyers save searches gone. No explanation on how the new searching structure works to your buyers. That's all going to be just up to them to, oh wow, something's different. And I really think that was part of why people had a big dip in sales last time this happened. No one knew how to search. They were so used to seeing these things they were lost. And from what I heard, that eBay's phone boards were just rocked with people wondering why they didn't have this and didn't have that and stuff. And it doesn't just turn us off; it turns off buyers. If I'm looking for, let's say, Weebles, I can find them easier on Amazon, and I'm talking vintage. You can buy vintage on Amazon, believe it or not, and on Etsy. We just purchased 2 from England off of Etsy, and it was better service, better everything than on eBay. It was I found it instantly. I didn't have to screw around. I don't think it was a sponsored, or I don't think they were promoting it or anything either, if I'm not mistaken either. Let's hop down and hey, Charles Lowe. Let's see here. Marty right below it. How are you doing, Marty? Brutal for sure. Yeah, I would say so, Marty. Jiminy Flip It, how are you doing? I think you put out a video on the topic too, if I'm not mistaken. Marty's got a channel. If you haven't checked him out, I'd recommend giving Marty a shot there. Jiminy Flip It. Joe Samard, good afternoon from hot California. Yeah, I spent some time in Whittier, if anybody knows where that's at, and we drove around up through that area too. Mr. Johnson, how's Mr. Johnson doing? Hopefully you're doing well, Richard. Yeah, I'm not going to hit on much more, Richard, either than what we discussed, because, again, most of it is worry for no reason. Most of it is just stuff that's going to happen wherever you're at. Policies change on every platform that I'm on. Obviously, they never change anywhere near as much as eBay. I don't remember a policy change on Amazon that's even been remotely concerning in years. And I'm serious. I can't think of what. In fact, the policy changes eBay or Amazon has done has helped us in many different cases, other than Richard Pryor's estate. I won't get back into that one. I was talking with somebody else over an issue, and that brought up the Richard Pryor estate issue. And obviously, don't list anything with Richard Pryor on it with his name on it on any platform. They will go after you with a vengeance. From my personal 100% experience, they will go after you on every platform that you have his items up, even though the items you're listing were perfectly legal to list. So anyway, they didn't even own the license to the items they were charging. But Amazon, you can't argue. eBay, you can't argue. So anyway. Dave, Midwest Picker, again, another fellow channel member here. He has his own channel too. If you haven't checked out Dave, Dave's got some good videos as well. Dave seems to be a very nice guy. Mr. Hale, hey Bob, how are you doing? Now I always like the next one, Sunday Fun Day, Pamela Saban. I always like that. It kind of reminds me of I don't know why, but some of the Japanese shows, Battle of the Planets or something like that, G-Force. I grew up watching that when I was a kid, so I don't know how many other people. I was a big Takara Toy Company fan for many years of my life. Micronauts I loved, and those came from Microman, Takara. Love those things, man. I loved the Micronauts. That was my obsession, right along with Star Wars. I think I had Micronauts before Star Wars. Yeah, I had Micronauts, I think, before Star Wars, though. Mego before that. I had the Planet of the Apes Mego, Star Trek Mego, Superheroes Mego. Terry, how are you doing? Southern California. let me shoot this out here before I forget. I know we're well into the conversation. Those in Patreon, I put up a video. I had, I think, 8 or 9 people ask similar styled questions real recently in the last 10 days. Several new folks. Welcome to Patreon for those new folks. So there's a 25 or 30-minute video going into all of my listing practices, why I use what numbers, why I use what prices, my breakdowns and auctions versus bins. It goes over all that kind of stuff because I had a ton of questions on that. So that is up already. I've already answered all the emails. Everybody's responses are done. I will be on there tomorrow. So if anybody has any questions in Patreon, you will have an answer tomorrow if you post it tonight or email me tonight. I've been spending my time a little differently, so I've been answering a heck of a lot more emails in Patreon. I had 27 Patreon emails this morning, so no problem flooding them in. I got to them all just fine, and you all got real nice, long, drawn-out explanations on whys, whats, if, wheres, and whens. So that's out there for you. Tomorrow morning I have 2 more what's solds. I would have put them up today, but my time in front of a screen is very limited from this point because I've been spending time going over user agreement today, so I've been stuck on a screen for longer than I want to be. Again, I got vision problems. I can only sit on the screen for so long a day. Let me see where we at. Vintage Vagabond Events, how are you doing? Good evening. Hope you are doing well too. Rhonda Amelia Williams. One other thing, so I was going to add this in there just a second ago. Callouts are updated too. You'll see them on the next video for those who have joined. You'll see the new callouts on there too. So just FYI. I got another video for Art Professor done too. That'll probably be up in the next day. My guidebook that's coming out. It's at legal right now, so I'm just waiting on clearance from legal on a couple potential copyright issues, and I just want to make sure I clear everything up before it goes out there. So as soon as it clears law-wise, it's going to be out there. So just FYI. Patreons, you'll see it first. Just FYI. It's a charged feature though. I have to do because of the amount of time I've invested into it. And once you see it, you'll realize it's going to be a good one. I promise. This is a professional, college level. It's got every detail you could imagine. It's very, very well done. I would buy it, and I'm not trying to be promoting my stuff like that, but I spent some time because I care about what I'm talking about in that book. It's something I collect. You'll see. I promise it'll be good. Christopher Zane, how are you doing? Duncan, I prepared for fourth quarter 2 months ago. Ordered that. Yeah, again, he's ordering ahead of time. This is part of the problem with why you would never want to do some major overhaul on any system in fourth quarter, because if you haven't rolled it out virtually and tested it for months on end to know that it's not going to crash or create some unforeseen issues, it's a pot shot. You're just guessing if it's going to work okay, and I don't have a lot of faith in that. I wouldn't do it in fourth quarter because of all the stuff tied to it. So anyway, let's see. Nicholas Tracy, how are you doing? If I didn't call you out. Pamela, yes, this is my last year for selling, going in different directions next year. With having to watch grandson, he's taking up a lot of my time. Well, at least you got the grandson there, so that's always enjoyable. I get that part. Selling after a while, I can see too. It does get to be a drag. It depends on how eBay keeps changing stuff up, but I wish you good luck in your future endeavors, Pamela. We'll be here, so if you ever change or things you need, we're still around. Let's see here. No way will I be using their beta pay-per-click for collectibles, Inferium, and stamps. Nope, I would never do it. Never recommend it. I would stick away. I haven't used any promoted listing on eBay in like 18 months or longer, I think. I'd have to go back and check, but it's been a heck of a long time. I want to say it was like in August, so it would be just over 2 years ago, I think. Not 18 months. It would be 2 years and like a month ago was the last time I used one after the ad blocker fiasco. So just FYI. Do it as you wish, but some items you would probably want to use a standard promoted. I would never do or recommend pay per click for anything that wasn't brand new wholesale that you had mass quantity of. Because if you're just doing a one-off, you want to draw the attention to it where there's going to be more than one. If you're paying for just clicks to sell one item, that's overspending on something that's not going to give you the lion's share of the investment on like a pay per click. the points of those and why I say they work for like new stuff is because you still have them for sale. So all that builds up like interest in your platform. It's all tied to it. But when a listing ends because you only had one of them, you lose it. If you have multiple quantities or you use the zero quantity option on eBay, your listing doesn't end. So you can always add more, but you still keep all that initial content, the watchers, and all the other information tied to it. It doesn't go bye-bye. So if I sell something that I got quantity of and I hit zero and I add more in, all the people that were watching it, before it hit zero are still there. I'm not losing anybody. So that's one of the aspects why pay-per-click can work for multi-quantity items that you have a bunch of, but not for single ones, because then you're overpaying. You're not going to get the lion's share of your investment out of it. You may sell something, but the problem with any of the promoted listings is you may have sold it anyway. I hear a lot of people say, well, I did promoted listings and the next day I sold this. Well, if you didn't do promoted listings, the next day you may have sold it anyway. There's no comparisons. There's no way to judge if that's it's cause and effect. There's no way to judge if you doing that caused it to sell. It may have sold anyway. And there's no way to compare with having, a test example. So it means nothing. You can't say that you doing promoted did you anything at all. And scientifically speaking, that's how it works. You can't say it's helping you. Again, I'm sure in some cases it does in clothing and stuff, but flooded categories probably do. Because if there's 100 people selling the same thing you got up, how are you going to stand out? You need to be at the top of the search results and have the best SEO, and your title keywords are so important. Let's see here. Terry Larson, good evening as well. Hey, Rob, how are you doing? Good to see you back in house, too. Donald's Discoveries, welcome, Donald. I'm gearing up for fourth quarter listing. Again, that's what everybody should be doing right now. We shouldn't have to be worrying about, am I going to get screwed? Should I not list these items until I see what's happening? My concern is that now I'm in limbo on listing a whole bunch of things. If I list 1,000 postcards in the next week, are those postcards then going to have to be re-edited in October? So it puts a lot of people in bind. If this is all, I know people that only sell postcards. So if that's all they're selling and they still need to have revenue coming in, they're going to have to continue listing. And then everything they're listing now that they don't sell, they're going to have to go back in and alter them and add item specifics in again. So again, it's putting a hamper and hindrance, and it could be double dutying your work where you're going to have to do it twice. You won't have to upload a photo, but it might theoretically take the same amount of time almost by the time you figure out where they got everything at. And again, with collectibles, everyone is different. Even if I have the same postcard, the condition might not be the same. So I wouldn't be able to list them in a multi-quantity listing. Or there might be one's used, one's not used. One has a little wear, one doesn't. You can't list them as a quantity 2 ever. Unless you're going to come back in and change the condition. But then again, you could sell them too quick or something else could happen. You're risking your feedback. Hey, Andrew Smith, how are you doing? Sounds a lot like Google AdWords. Yes, it does. It sounds like most of those steps, processes, and advertising venues. I've used some of them, of course. I'm not going to deny that, but pay-per-click for vintage and collectibles is insane, or for your toys, unless, again, you're a toy company, Nate, Rummage, I'm trying to see Rummageopedia, I'm sorry. My vision's it's hard to read that. Cat D, just more money for eBay, yes, and they don't have to do the time to categorize anything after this. Yeah, eBay wants to be like Amazon. What's new, Duncan? Of course. Again, I'm every company does changes, but I've said this for 3 years. You can go back and watch all my videos. Every time I have an issue or I have to worry about something, it's always eBay. Even if eBay is less than half of my revenue, which it is, way less than half these days, because of eBay's actions, I'm putting stuff other places now. There's still 95% of my stress and 95% of my extra work comes from eBay, even though they're 43 or 40% of my overall revenue. All my eBay stores together are about 43% of my overall month-to-month revenue. So that gives you an idea right there. But they're 95% of my headache, my problems, my worries, my aggravations, and everything else. One email, and I'm not trying to promote HIP because, again, I'm not getting any money for doing anything with those folks right now. Nothing against them. They work great. I haven't any issues with them. But if I send the same message to eBay, nothing would happen to that person. So, I respected that. And every time I have sent or asked a question, they fixed it. So I can't complain. I get a person. I get an actual person. Somebody I personally know there, but I still get it fixed pretty quickly. And it's not like Facebook or eBay for business on Facebook, where a day later they might give you one answer, you respond, and then a separate person responds and doesn't know what they're talking about the first time. So, and I've run into that too. So, again, the biggest things are the categories with it. At this point, it's just the extra work that I see this is going to cause. And again, I don't see anything that they're doing as of now that's going to help me get more money coming in or anything else like that. All I see is hindrances when it crushes and kills the people saved category item searches that they have, and not informing buyers of how it works now. Everybody's used to how it used to work. So if one day you come in and everything's different, how are you going to know what to do? So let's pop on down here a little farther. Andrew, if you take a look at the complaints, it really seems like bots going through the accounts and clicking to make huge profits. I'm not sure on the specific complaints you're meaning there, so I'm not really sure what you're stressing there. Amazon seller 99, the old way eBay charged fees was fine with me. I just had them charge my card on file once a month, less accountability and easier managed in my opinion. Yeah, I get that. It's easier with the one a month. Everything I download it all to an Excel spreadsheet, and I can just instantly compare it to my line by lines, and I can figure out where I'm at. Usually for me, but again, I had to handle 11.1 million, I think is what our area did. I'm fine with the numbers. I'm not worried. As long as I can break it down in an Excel spreadsheet, I can pretty much do anything with the accounting and the numbers. But that's just me. I know everybody doesn't like Excel. I know a lot of people hate Excel, and they'd rather do like, what's that, GoDaddy, or I don't even know the accounting apps. I don't use those. Everything's Excel. I use that in corporate America, and it's always stuck with me. I get your point, Amazon seller 99, though, fully. Old to new treasures, welcome. Diary of a Flipper, welcome. Hey, Jeff Loftus, how are you doing? Atlas Attic right down below. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you two are doing well. And Dom's in the house. Hey, Dom, how are you doing this evening? Hopefully Dom is doing well. I don't think I've talked to him in the last couple of days, now that I think about it. Usually we chat once in a while. This week has been awful for us with time and stuff. Kids back in school and trying to help them out and do some other things here. I had a doctor's appointment for my eye. One of my sons has a doctor's appointment. School requiring some things that I had to help them with, and they're down one car, so we're looking for a car, and a lot of stuff going on, let's just put it that way. Plus sales are fine, so at least I got that, but it's just a lot of time to put in extra too. Let's see here. Duncan, I personally found 10% off send coupons helps bring buyers back for another purchase. I do the coupons too. Now I set mine up differently. I mark a day where I stop, and I'll just do coupons to the items that have already arrived, and either they've left feedback or it's been so many days. You can sort them by the date and stuff of the sale, and that's usually what I do in the hub, and I'll send them out that way. I think in the pretty sure in the user update it's got that you'll be able to bulk send them out by group. And I'm almost sure, like 99.9% sure, that that's in there too. Don't slam me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that was in there on that one. So if you can do that, that would be a great help. Just like you can set it up to do auto feedback, which is what I always use. So it automatically leaves feedback when the person pays for the item. I hope they'll set it up where when they leave feedback for you, it automatically sends a coupon out. Now that would be a good thing that they could do. It would help them, unfortunately. Well, I guess fortunately, but it would help us immensely because it would cut off that extra time of me clicking through one by one. I would never send a coupon out to, personal opinion, until the person actually received the item. So it kind of corresponds with the... Here's my thought on the coupon, sending it out that way. If they already have the item and they're happy with it, a coupon will remind them of who you are, and they'll think, yeah, I was happy with that thing. Let's take a look and see what else they got. If you sell collectibles and vintage and stuff like that, it's a bigger draw because those people are looking for specific collectibles. If you sell those collectibles and you're giving a coupon and they like the one that just arrived at their house the day before, you know, it works out that way. So it's the second best thing to actually putting one in there. I went back and forth on whether it'd be worth sending them and printing them all the time and stuff. We just message them out because it ties it to eBay. It shows up on their phone. If they're on a phone, you got a message or you got a coupon, and so they can take a look at it pretty quickly, is what I personally have seen from that. So I think the coupon was a good option for a lot of people, and I think that was a good plus for eBay, but everybody else does it already. eBay's behind the times on that, actually, because I have coupons on Amazon for a while now. Let me pop on back down. Was getting clicked at 3 a.m. in the morning for my janitorial company. They give you the option of advertising just in your area, so it's not a time zone problem. Pay-per-clicks, again, I would just stay away if you're selling vintage and collectibles. That's all I'm going to say on that one here. I'm not saying it's not going to work for some people depending on what you're selling, but overall, in my opinion, it's just not practical in my areas. Let's pop on down. Yeah, I know the comic books. Dom's talking about comics. I had to change a bunch of comic books for the same thing. We've got, I think between both stores, probably 1,200 comic books or something like that. And we had to go in and put like Superman. And even though it was in the Superman comics section, we had to go in and put Superman and a whole bunch of other things there. I used the eBay download for the comics, and it wasn't as... At least with the comic books, I knew by the title of the comic book what I needed to change for all the other ones. I didn't need to see a photo because I know I could probably, memorize pretty much every comic book, vintage comic book I have in inventory because I had most of them as a kid. So I know all the early Batman, Superman. I mean, I know who's in them. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I fully got you there too, Dumb. I know what you mean. Crispy's Toys and Treasures, how are you doing? Jill N. This was with DVDs and CDs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think last year, again, it was in fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember right, that's when I had to spend all that time with the records, and I just said I wouldn't list any more massive quantities, and they all went to Discogs after that. I think I may have only listed 1 or 2 records since they did that. Again, I can send my merchandise somewhere else. I'd rather take a 10% dip in sales from those items and flood it on another platform, because the fees are cheaper, for one. I don't have to screw around with changing stuff, for 2, so... Maybe I'm losing 10% in sales by putting them somewhere else, but I'm gaining 20% in sales because I don't have to screw around with time wasted and wondering if they're going to lose my photos and all the other stuff that happens on there. So that's my take on it. Yeah, I saw the stuffed animals too with holidays. There are holiday stuffed animals, but it's gotten crazy with the item specifics because I don't know what they're patterning off that aspect of it, because nobody has them broken down the way eBay does. They've got so many that are irrelevant and mean nothing to the people that are actually looking for them. Like in collectibles, when they add in items, a styrene record is something, but they're calling it a PVC. The price guides call it styrene. So why would they put PVC when no one would be looking for it? No one's going to put PVC, even though technically that's what it is, because they've always been called styrene by the companies that write the guidebooks. Goldmine is going to say styrene. Osborne's price guide says styrene. Anyway, not all records are vinyl, if you didn't know. Styrene wears out more, so it was more of a novelty or a cheaper press run. It was cheaper to press instead of vinyl, if you don't know. Dunk and eBay are always causing headaches for sellers in the last part of the year, forcing sellers to edit thousands of listings. Summer is slower. Why the heck didn't they do it at the beginning of summer so you'd have all that extra time? I have extra staff in the summer. They're not in school. I could have done it so much easier, more efficiently and everything if they did it when it's not busy. eBay's not beefing up for holiday sales. They have nothing to worry about. It's us. It's all the sellers that they do this to year after year after year after year. I'm not making that up. That's what eBay does. Every year this happens. And if you're enjoying the conversation, please slam that thumbs up there. I got 337 people in-house, 175 likes right now. Pamela's been fixing CDs for a few months. Let's see here. Argent Pure, it took 2 months to get managed payments sending my funds. Good example. In the new update, there's a whole thing on the fact that they can hold your money for a whole bunch of reasons. Not only that, you thought your money was safe in PayPal. In the new update, may have been in there before this. I don't remember that specific clause. Maybe they changed the wording. But they can contact PayPal now and tell PayPal to hold your money in PayPal if they think that it needs to happen. So eBay can dictate how PayPal handles your money. It's an agreement. Read it yourself. I'm not making that up. That's in there. That was one of those factors that I'm like, what? PayPal's a separate company. They can't get it back from your bank. That's why I say if you're getting your payouts to PayPal, PayPal can lock your money on eBay's behalf now. So don't do it. Send your money to your bank account because eBay doesn't have any way that I know of other than that you sign the agreement to come back and just take that exact money. You could challenge it from what I see because I don't see that your bank signed an agreement specifically with them. PayPal does from what I understand. TC Collectibles, how are you doing? Hey, Daryl, how are you doing? Hey, Daryl, I got back to you on, shoot, what'd you have up there? You had something up there. Oh, that postcard. I responded. I just look at the response. I don't want to take up too much time on there, but I did answer you back on that one with a question on that. Now I lost where I was at. Hang on just a second here. Let me find where I was at. How did I get so lost in I think my feed just jumped. Oh, no, here we are. Here we go. Paul Rhodes, how are you doing? Thank you very kindly, Paul. Appreciate that. Crispy Toys, I guess this is when having only 800 listings is a good thing. Yeah, I get that's a joke. Quantity is the game, though, I have to say. Quantity overrules everything. If I got enough of something up, it's going to sell. And it's going to sell routinely as long as it's good stuff. Let me pop down. There goes my feed again. Always some issue somewhere. Linda Schmidt. Well, thank you very kindly, Linda. Appreciate that. JB, it looks like. Thank you very kindly, JB. Let's see here. Robert Tracy. Let's see. Just curious. I just turned in. You said something about paying per click. So does that mean that you won't pay that promotional percentage anymore? Or is the pay-per-click an option? I haven't looked into the pay-per-click because I'd never use it. So I don't know what the whole breakdown is on it. But my guess is it's probably just pay-per-click. And you might still have to pay a final value fee. I don't know. I'm not going to use it, so I'm not even going to mess with it. I don't recommend or get into all the details if I'm not going to use it. Because I haven't used it to tell you if it's good or bad. If that's what people want to know. So just personal opinion again. So FYI. They're going to have both options, though. I can tell you that, too. That is in there specifically. And I'll bet you, too, that there'll be a third option so you can promote your store like you would on Shopify or something. That's why they're pushing for the store, because then they can have you do two different promotions. If you want your store promoted off-platform, you'd have to pay for off-platform promotions or something. And then if you wanted your items promoted on eBay, that would be a whole different one. So they can double dip now on promotions. So it's all a money grab. Always is. Let's see, Atlas Addict. Today I was putting up bracelets, and it has the item-specific character and recipient, mother, aunt, uncle, etc. Yeah, they're clueless on that. I think my voice is going out right now. Again, I've been talking to a lot of people, and we've been going line by line together over all of the user agreement and the update just to make sure there wasn't something hidden in there. Helps to have a couple eyes looking at it so you can see if there's anything else going on that they've weaseled in there. Because a couple changes in a couple words can make the whole sentence mean something entirely different. And they do stuff like that too. Amazon seller 99. It's especially bad for API. We send a category number to eBay for every item we list. So we'll have to determine and change all of our category numbers for each item affected. Let me pop down just a little bit farther. Hey, Ann Austin, how are you doing? Bob Hale, eBay changed the URL of many store categories, i.e. my store category for toys might have been, they changed to my links no longer work. Yep, I could see that. Of course, they didn't announce it or probably tell anybody anything's going on. Yeah, see, because that's more of a structure of, geez. It looks more like a hierarchy structure now, the new one they're showing you, versus what they had before. But it still doesn't change what your store is, so that's kind of just, I don't know. Yeah, it's more like a hierarchy setup more than anything else. Yeah, my throat's going out. Let's see, how would they know if you use priority mail supply if you use poly bags over the labels? Silver Bushman, I don't use their bags illegally at all. If you're using them to mail some other means, that is a crime. It's basically ripping off the post office, so I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't do it. And they are entitled to open up mail in some classes, so again, if there's a suspicion, a buyer could turn you in. So I would never do it. A buyer could work for the post office and find an issue with it. Not like he was trying to bust you on something, but I'm telling you, it happens. I can tell you for sure. I know somebody who got in trouble for that once and weren't allowed to use his service for a while. Let's see here. Sally, that's Sally Girl 362. How are you doing? Well, if you're new and you don't have much up and you're just getting started, it'll be easier to fix now than it would be when you're well advanced like somebody else. I've got, we're like at the 30,000 listing in the store I share with you. If you count in quantity and quantity not shown on eBay, I think we've got 37,000 individual items up for sale on the store I share with you. Boy, I'm going to have to probably let it go in a minute here. My throat's bugging me. I'm going back down here. Let's see. Anthony Thomas. Wonder if eBay will do like Amazon and do eBay Live where you can showcase your products live on their platform. On YouTube, I can do video. Or not on YouTube. On Amazon, I can do videos on product and then market the product and get commission off that product right now. That ain't me. I'm not a home shopping type of guy where I'll be pushing people's stuff for money. I don't care about all that. I don't care if it's good money or not. I don't like it. I do what I like. I do like to do what I like to do. Saw that reseller girl. Should I do Shopify? If you're just starting off, I wouldn't jump into Shopify. I'd just stick to eBay. It'd be the simplest, easiest way to get some knowledge, experience under your belt. Make sure you're shipping properly. Make sure you can keep up your feedback. Shopify you'd have to do as well, and it'd be a whole new thing to learn, and you'd have to get a bunch of different apps for taxes and all that other stuff. I would not do it for anybody new. I would never recommend it unless you've already been in business doing this for a while and you're just coming back or something and you've got quantity to list. It just wouldn't be practical, just in all honesty. And if you're doing Shopify, eBay's API would be bad with what's going on, and even if it's not, it's not full featured, so it didn't offer things like best offer. So you need InkFrog. So if you really want to do Shopify correctly and have a backup, you'd have to do eBay, InkFrog, and Shopify. So just stick to eBay right now would be my personal opinion. Again, do as you wish, but that would be the easiest, the safest, and the best way. Everyday treasures found. You can actually shut off the auto relist on your items. You can end them anytime you want. Just go to the hub, go to your listings, click on the radio button next to it, go up to the very top on there's a bar with things you can do, and I think it's the top or the far right one. Other things or other options. You click on there and there's an option to end your listing. Once it ends, you hit OK. It's going to go and show up in your ended listings section on the hub as well too, under your listings tab. So it's really easy. Just use the top header there and hit the. And if you just want to end that one, you can just type in a couple words from the title in the listings page or listings tab in your hub. It'll pull up that listing. All you got to just click that one box and off you go. And just click the delete or end item. It says end item. Let's see here. Had several issues so far with eBay already. I tried to change my shop name, messed it up, and it's still wrong, etc. I would contact eBay for Business and Facebook and hope they can fix it up relatively quickly for you if it's a name issue. Well, Mr. Buys-A-Lot, thank you very kindly for the $10 super chat. Very, very nice of you. I do honestly and sincerely appreciate that. I'm sorry, my throat is bugging me today. Thank you very kindly, though, Mr. Buys-A-Lot. I know you were with Dom not too long ago. I saw the videos with on Dom's channel. If you hadn't had a chance to check out Primetime Treasure Hunters videos, the two of them were together. I think you bought a huge lot or were looking at a huge lot of stuff, if I remember right. Waltzing with Crystal. How you doing, Crystal? Long-time prize winner from a while back. Scott Watson. Yes, I was an Eagle Scout. Silverbush Mom. I've been trying to figure out first-class shipping using polymer bags and my own bubble wrap. Depends on what you're shipping. I use eBay's bags these days. I just, instead of ordering the boxes, since I can get the boxes so much cheaper, I do the poly bags, and I'll just buy $150 per store in the 6x9s or the 9x12s, and off it goes. Now I use, we have shipments going back and forth, so, and I also get bubble wrap, what's called end cuts from the local box manufacturer. They make the poly bag, the bubble poly bags there. They have a heat process. I've seen the whole process. Bubble wrap comes in just the bubbles, and they face it with whatever sheets of paper in a big roll, and they make the actual bubble wrap bags there. So you can buy end cuts from a box manufacturer. An end cut, when they make an order from bubble wrap, the bubble wrap comes in like a 12-foot long reel that's about 5 foot tall. It depends on the store and where they're getting it from, but the ones that I deal with, it's about a 5-foot tall roll that's about 12 foot long. Sometimes they're half of that. They're 6 feet long, I think is the actual thing. So if somebody comes in with an order and they end up cutting it off, they have a big machine and they cut it off in one huge giant roll within a certain range that fits into the machines. At the end of the day, the very ends of the bubble wrap are not exactly the same size, and sometimes the ends of these big rolls aren't, flush with each other to begin with. So at the end of the day, they have this 5-foot tall roll that's usually about this wide of bubble wrap. I usually get it for $15. It's anywhere from 400 feet to 1,000 feet, anywhere from say $10 to $20 or so for that much bubble wrap. And if I equated that to bubble wrap, from a store, even buying it on eBay, it's about a fifth the cost of any other bubble wrap anywhere else in the globe. And it's called end cuts. Now, your local people may call it something else. I figured out they could do this, and I've contacted and offered to buy it from a place that was throwing it out. So, there are people out there that you can buy it from locally that way. That's how you get bubble wrap cheaper than anywhere else on the planet. Is to go to the manufacturer and ask what they do with the ends of the rolls they cut for special orders. And that's what you come up with. You come up with end cuts. And I've been buying end cuts for a very long time whenever I need bubble wrap. So it's dirt cheap. The only problem is it's huge. And last time I bought all they had last time. I think there was 3 of them. I had to take out the back seats, 2 rows of back seats out of the van, and it filled up the back, so I couldn't get another thing in there. And it was only 3 rows of bubble wrap. I only had 40-some-odd bucks into it all, so I couldn't really complain, but it was a little nuisance. I could have had them delivered for a little extra money, but I was out. Let's see where we're at. Let's see here. Tommy Thunder. Amazon's a whole other monster. There's more to just figuring out what to sell on Amazon. You got to know the rankings and all kinds of other stuff. The Amazon's app's great for telling you your profits off your items and the whole works. RA, go to Walmart or one of the local stores and see what you can get out of the clearance and see what it's selling for on Amazon. That's like the best thing. I sell vintage on Amazon, records, all kinds of stuff on Amazon. Just depends on what your knowledge basis is. You don't want to just jump on Amazon and not know how Amazon works either, because Amazon will shut you down. You'll get gated, you'll get locked out, they'll boot you off for not following procedures. eBay would be the far easier one to start with, at least to get your feet wet. Again, my opinion. Amazon's better for bulk, though. It's better for wholesale. It's better for all that kind of stuff. RA is great on Amazon. I haven't had any... we've not lost on an RA deal with Amazon for 3, 4, 5 years. It's been a long time since I lost a dime on Amazon. Once you get the hang of Amazon, Amazon's a pretty big, easy roll there. I mean, it's starting off, though, it can be a little intimidating. With like FBA and stuff, know the storage fees, know the prices, know your shipping costs. Yeah, we'll end it in just a couple minutes here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's bad that I can't see this. Hang on, I saw something I wanted to respond to, if I can figure out where we're at. Here's a comment. Promoted listings is better than 10 sellers undercutting each other by lowering prices to get noticed. I don't fight with anybody. I just keep my same prices. I usually sell them higher than everybody else, too. I wouldn't do promoted listings for any vintage whatsoever. There's not going to be 10 people that are selling the same thing I'm selling in the first place in vintage and collectibles anyway. So again, I said promoted listings will work for clothing and new items and stuff like that, but not for collectibles. There's never going to be 10 people selling any of the same items that I sell. Most of what I sell, I've probably got the only one up, and if it's not the only one, there's only a couple people that even come close to even having anything similar to what I have. And even if that's the case, you don't need promoted listings. If you have better keywords, better images than everybody else, they're going to buy yours over anybody else's, and that's a fact. I can show you. I could do videos, and I have done videos. I'm sure there's one in Patreon, as well as at least a couple on YouTube, where I show you items I listed after people already had 3 and 4 and 5 of them up. I sold it for more than them, and I sold it really quickly. The exact same item that was already up for months by somebody else. So there's more to it than just promoting. That keyword is so huge. And far too many people miss like the most important reason why it would sell, the most important keyword. The number one keyword that'll get that item sold, it's not in their listing. I see that all the time. All the time. I've told or recommended to people, you put this one word in there, it's going to sell, and that's exactly what happens. You got to know your items to bottom end there. I never lower my prices. I'll just let them sell theirs, and eventually they'll be gone, and I'll have mine. I'm in no hurry to sell any specific item, so I don't care. It works for me. I got enough quantity. Again, quantity overrules everything else. If I've got 30,000 good items up, I'm selling stuff every single day of the week, and a lot of it. So, anyway. Yeah, I can't read the name. I'm sorry. Shazam Stickle. I'm sure I missed some folks. I'm sorry. I can't quite see where I'm at in the chat. It's like dropped and bounced all over the place. Yeah, I did a video on that. The post office is going to be slowing down service and raising the fees. Like a month ago, I did a video literally talking about that. Again, this is all happening in fourth quarter, so you're going to have slow shipments, higher fees, and then potential on eBay to have a disaster with the categories and all that stuff going on. So overall, yeah, I see some of the haters are out already for me talking. I'm sure some of those are eBay folks that follow and try and do thumbs down, trying to sway the view of videos. And I'm sure that's the case, and a few haters, as always. Old used stamps and envelopes. I found some for cheap. Do people resell used stamps? Depends on the stamp. If it's just a 1 cent, 2 cent common stamp, they made tens of millions of them, and it's just not worth your time. If it's from 1850 and it's like some rare stamp, yeah, it's a different story. But envelopes from the 20s, just standard envelopes with just normal stamps, aren't going to be worth anything. I think we'll cut it off here because I think my throat is dead right now. Hopefully, again, everybody's doing well. If you hadn't hit the thumbs up and you enjoyed the conversation, please slam that thumbs up. 342 people in-house still. Again, these are my thoughts. You can look at the user agreement yourself. You can judge it for yourself. You know they're going to force item specifics. They've already stated it in there. They're getting rid of 120, 150 categories in one major category on its own. That means there's going to be that many item specifics out there that will have to be filled in. So just be ready for it. Even with this all aside, you should still be listing everything you can to get it ready for fourth quarter. This year, you should have been doing it more so earlier than before. I've been doing it for 6-7 weeks, almost eight weeks. Like Duncan said the same thing 2 months ago. This year could be a bumper crop on sales. So you need to be ready for it with everything you got up. So take aside, just pay no attention to eBay's what's going on right now. Worry about getting the stuff up. We got a month and a half or so, more than that. We've got 2 months because it's October 12th. No, 1 month, I'm sorry. A month and 2 days or so before it rolls out there. So you got a month and that long to get other stuff up and to just worry about getting listings up. That'll be your best bet. Because if you've never been on for fourth quarter, you want to have a bang up one so you get some boost, even for just emotional and the excitement of getting a whole bunch of stuff sold. It's not going to happen unless you have a lot of stuff up. If you've just got everyday items up and only a couple hundred of them, you're going to have to boost those up to see a huge return on that. Again, if you've got limited quantity up, again, you're not going to have huge, massive sales. You have to have a lot of stuff up to have a lot of sales. You know, it equates to how many items you have up. Million up, million items, we may sell, I don't know, a couple thousand a month of those every month, so it just depends. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming on. Those in Patreon, you have a video. I'll have posts in the morning with what's sold on Patreon as well. If you got questions, comments for Patreons, leave them tonight, and I will answer everything tomorrow, and you will have it all answered right away. So appreciate it, and hope everybody has a good night.